Hello and greetings, fellow StarCrafters. PGL Milncraft here with another Best of 3 series with none other than the Titan, the Gorilla Terran as he is known, Liquid Jinro down here. Very well-known player. I'd be surprised if you had not heard of him, although it's certainly possible, of course, depending on how much you follow the StarCraft scene and which particular scene that you do follow. This is one player I've been very excited to cast, partially because I really like his style of play, and I also haven't really seen him participate in a while. I haven't seen really any of his matches. I know he's been playing them, obviously. I just happen to have not caught any of them, and ever since he's kind of been out of Korea, out of the GSL, which is tends to be the major tournaments that I follow. So it should be a very exciting match because of that. And his opponent up here it says Twilight for you, but I am pretty sure that it is not actually Twilight for you. It is actually FXOz, at least that's what the replay website says where I got this from. So I am pretty sure that that's who we are seeing here, and I'm very excited to cast that game for this very reason. FXO is one of those. It's you know how you have like up-and-coming players. I would say FXO is an up-and-coming team. They have some very good players in Oz who did a very good job going through all of the lines in Code A last season, not GSL November, the one before that. I forget which exactly one it was. I guess it's probably October, or maybe, yeah, I think it was GSL October. And they also have Gumiho, who recently, spoiler alert, just won his chance to remain in Code A, and some other good players that I'm entirely forgetting right now. Let's see, Code, FXO, Oz. I'm totally blanking on a couple, but they have a number of other good players. They're maybe not as well known as a team such as Incredible Miracle, which has obviously Nest and MVP, but a very good team nonetheless. This map, of course, is Daybreak. Gigantic map, absolutely huge map. I actually would not be surprised to see players going for a command center first here or a Nexus first, but on the other hand, it looks like actually neither player is going for any kind of super fast expansion. The reason that super fast expansions, or at least super big expansions, tend to be, that probe there being a little bit annoying, trying to block the supply depot. Of course, that is not actually going to supply block Liquid Jinro, as you do have a little bit of flexibility as your orbital command is upgrading as a Terran player. But it's such a long map, it's very hard to rush people in it. So it looks like neither player did end up opting to go for that quick expansion, but they probably will be expanding fairly quickly, as it's fairly difficult to apply any sort of one base pressure on this map simply because of the absolute gigantic size. One thing that you may notice is that the resolution of this game is much better than the previous 5 games that I casted. As part of the new computer that I purchased, I also got a new monitor. The old monitor I had was in 4:3 resolution, which I can tell you is like square. This one is a 16:9 resolution, or 16:9 ratio, aspect ratio, which I can tell you is like twice as wide as the 4:3. I know it's not mathematically actually twice as wide, but it feels twice as wide. It's absolutely huge, and it's much more used to what people are used to when watching these games, so I'm sure it'll be much more enjoyable and hopefully better for you viewers. Looks like Liquid Jinro is going for a quick factory here. I would actually guess that he's going to get a starport next, given the amount of gas he's collecting. It is possible. Yep, it looks like, yeah, that's exactly what he's going to get. He's going to be getting a starport. I would guess that he's actually going Banshee play right now. Yeah, in fact, almost certainly he's going to go Banshees. We should be seeing a tech lab go down at his factory relatively soon. And it's going to kind of come down to whether or not FXOz is really going to be prepared with a robotics facility on this one. He has not started a robotics facility yet. He's actually getting a second gateway and double gas. This is really interesting that neither player is really going for a quick expansion at all, really. Like, this is a normal play essentially for a much smaller map. This map is huge. Like, look at how far you have to walk all the way down this way, across here. Actually, we can just follow this probe as it walks all the way up here and then finally into the Terran base. We do have a barracks here, and this is very smart from Jinro, actually. Is he going for 1-1-1? It is very possible at this point that Jinro is actually going for a 1-1-1 with cloaked Banshees. The bunker right there is very smart by Jinro, as I was saying, because it looks like there's a command center behind it, or at least fairly soon. And you can see as soon as he sees that, he decides to put down a Nexus as soon as he sees the bunker out there. So that's some very nice mind games. Now, unfortunately for Jinro, despite the fact that FXO Oz has not seen it, he just saw the one gas, so he doesn't know if he's going for... He didn't see the Reaper, so it shows him that he probably wasn't going for a Reaper expand. Oh, and he is actually getting a command center anyway, so that is part of the reason why he got a bunker. He is not doing a 1-1-1 all-in build or anything like that. I think the Stalker just went in just to double check to make sure that the command center was there. Very smart job from FXO Oz. If if Jinro was trying to fool him there, then he would have been found out, and Oz would have been well prepared for a 1-1-1 all-in build. Meanwhile, the robotics is getting being purchased by Twilight for you, aka FXOz. So he will be well prepared for this Banshee that is coming across. Go ahead and keep that selected. And actually, it might even be intercepted. No, it looks like it probably will not be intercepted by the stalker there. An observer will be done as well, but my guess is that the observer is going to be sent across the map. It is not currently rallied though, so it's very possible that it will not actually be sent across the map. This Banshee is going to go ahead and slide around it. Probably not. Actually, Cloak is going to finish first. So that he did do a significant investment of resources for that cloaking technology. And that Observer is right there, so that's not going to help at all. He didn't even bother cloaking, as he could probably spotted the Observer, actually. And did, in fact, notice that that there was no way that his Banshee would be able to get in and deal damage. He does have a second Banshee as well, and he's actually getting an armory right now. Part of the reason he's the Gorilla Terran is because of his love of Thors, I believe. Or at least his love of meching. I remember him meching at least a lot. He's a very big mech player, much less than a kind of bio player. And it looks like he is in fact going for a Thor right now. I'm not sure if he's going to be committing to this long term, but it's fairly rare for a Terran player to just simply get one Thor. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Where did his other Banshee go? Oh, his other Banshee's going around the other way. Very smart job. He's sending another Banshee around this way. However, unfortunately for him, FXOz did in fact split his Stalker forces, so despite his little like trickery there by trying to place his Banshees in different areas, he's really not going to get that many probe kills, and in fact he misclicks there and only gets 2 probe kills, I think 1 on each Banshee, which certainly does not make up for the huge investment that he put in resources. A Raven rather is now coming out for Liquid Jinro. That Raven is going to be very useful force point defense drone in terms of stopping these shots from Stalkers. And I mean just very useful in general. Stalkers kind of are the natural counter to the Thor, but also Zealots do pretty well against Thors as well, as long as they can engage properly. And actually, ooh, this Banshee is not going to be able to pick off a sentry. Obviously, he didn't even get a shot off, so not even close on that regard. I believe this is the first observer. Yes, this is the first observer that Jinro was actually to send over as a result of these Banshees. So, actually, I mean, well, okay. I was going to say that it's possible that, ooh, and actually that Raven is going to go ahead and take a peek of that observer. Those Marines and that Thor are going to come up, and they will be able to snipe that observer very, very quickly. It's possible that the Raven could lay a turret as well, but FXOz did not move the observer out of the way, so there was no need even for a turret to go down there. Looks like he will be moving out for a expansion, going to be aiming to take a relatively quick third. Jinro needs to put an additional soldier on gas right now, so I'm actually kind of interested. It looks like he's actually going for a Thor Banshee build. This is a build I really want to say that I have not. I think I've seen it once. I want to say I've seen this build once, exactly one time. And it really, I would say the strength of the build is actually in the Banshees. The Thors are very nice for tanking shots from the Stalkers, as well as the point defense drone, obviously, from the Raven. But the Banshees are the real damage dealers in this. Oh, very nice. Catching these Stalkers without an observer. He will be able to pick off that one Stalker right there. Goodbye, as it explodes little pieces, kind of fly around. Go ahead and take a little gander at that. Little electric shocks. Don't touch that. Danger, high voltage. I guess it's psionic energy, so it shocks you in the brain or something like that. Let's kind of look at how these players are transitioning out of this. It looks like, I think Jinro is probably aiming for a 2-base strategy. It looks like, at least at this point. FXOz is actually opting not to expand right there, and actually I'm a little disappointed by both of their play on not expanding, as this is a very large map, as I've been saying. It's fairly difficult to kind of move out across this map, and I realize these Banshees are keeping FXOz busy, but on the other hand, you know, taking a third right now could put a lot of pressure on your opponent to kind of attack, and if they're in a difficult position to attack, then it could be a good job as well. On the converse, of course, it could be that FXOz is actually, ooh, looks like, oh, he is going to get a free observer, or a free sentry right there. Very nice job from Liquid Jinro right there. On the other hand, if Liquid Jinro is planning some sort of 2-base all-in, basically the worst thing that FXOz could do is actually just take a third, as it's not something he's really going to get the benefits of before Jinro decides to move out with his Thors and Banshees. Now, let's go to the Units tab here so we can get a gander at exactly how many Banshees there are. There are actually only 2 Banshees. He is getting a 3rd Banshee. Now, I definitely want to see a 4th Banshee here, as, I mean, I would say, like, well, okay, the Thors would be doing a lot of damage as well. And actually, this is a very scary push right now. Where's okay, so there are a lot of zealots. These zealots are going to be at 1-1, and he is going to have High Templar. The High Templar are very useful, not just for the storms, but also for the feedback. As you see, all of these Thors have tons of energy, right? 200 max energy, which is half their health that they can feed back away for a mere 50 energy for the Twilight Councils. Both players are actually just sitting back right now. And here comes the 2-base push, just as I say that. So he was planning for a 2-base push. Luckily, this Raven is going to have 200 energy. Unfortunately, ooh, these Stalkers are going to go ahead and move in. This is actually going to delay the push. It's a very nice job from FXOz right there. It looks like Jinro is actually going to just ignore these Stalkers. Oh, no, it looks like he's not going to ignore them. All right, there we go. Now, okay, so there's going to be a couple of important dynamics right here. The first is how many feedbacks his High Templar can get off and how many storms they can get off before they end up being taken out by these forces. And the second is if the Raven will be able to lay its point defense drone before it gets taken out. You can see a second starport has been added. Oh, but very nice job from FXOz here. He decided to move on in. He saw the army moving out, and he decided to blink a bunch of Stalkers in. This is going to be able to take out at least one Thor right there, and then blink the rest of his Stalkers up there. Unfortunately for him, he was not able to delay any Banshee production, but these Banshees should in fact just be rallied straight to the army, as these Banshees are going to provide the massive amount of firepower that he needs. Thors, of course, have very high DPS as well, but not really to the level that Banshees provide for their cost. The Banshees have a very nice DPS for their cost. Is going to go ahead and bust this, and he's going to want to get the point defense drones out before he gets feedbacked, because if he gets feedbacked by that by the High Templar, of course, first of all, the Raven will just be taken out, and that will not allow him to snipe any observers, which is going to be important. Ooh, and a double cloak there, somewhat costly for Liquid Jinro right there. Gets the point defense drone right away out there, and actually feedbacks the point defense drone. Very nice job, and a nice storm. Is able to deal a lot of damage to these Marines right there, which is going to allow the, oh, very nice feedbacks on a lot of these Thors, as well as a small little flanking attack right here. Unfortunately for him, the point defense drone is absorbing a lot of that fire. The Banshees disappear almost immediately. He is able to morph all of his High Templars and Archons, and he is just going to steamroll right over this little force right here, and Jinro is going to have to GG out of this game. Very nice control from Twilight for you, aka FXOz, in this engagement. Those feedbacks were absolutely critical. I actually thought that points defense drones were treated as buildings and you couldn't feedback them. That was very interesting that he just decided that he was able to actually feedback that almost immediately. Was not able to absorb any of the shots from the Stalkers, and he also got a number of Immortals out as well, which were able to deal a ton of damage to these Thors as a result of the Marines pretty much all being stormed, and some nice focus firing from FXOz. Very nice game. Jinro went on the all-in two-base all-in, which is, I would say, two-base all-inning is much harder than one-base all-inning, just because when both players on established two bases, it can become very difficult to attack your opponent because of the huge travel distances involved, especially for Thors, which are very large, lumbering creatures, which take a long time to, you know, waddle all the way over across the map. So, very nice defense from FXOz. He got the Templar tech, which is exactly what he needed, because energy was basically something that all of Jinro's most powerful units had, and he was able to just take out all those Banshees almost immediately. I think he feedbacked the Banshees as well. I didn't quite see that. He might have just focus fired them with the Stalkers, but either way, they were taken out, and Jinro was defeated, and we're going to be moving on to game number 2. This is PGL Milncraft, signing out.